Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. I'm your host Rob. This video we're going to do another rehash video, this time in the movie category. We're going to revisit some of the 2013 movies that I have seen, that I have either reviewed already or by viewer request will be reviewing. However, we're going to start with some of the older videos I did for 2013 for those of you that have requested them. This one we're going to do Man of Steel. Okay guys, welcome back. So yes, I forgot to mention this on my channel schedule for the week, but obviously Man of Steel came out this week, so I got the DVD today, watched it again, and I didn't get to too many of the special features. I saw maybe one segment where they were talking about the overall production, and that was a pretty cool segment. Obviously they interviewed Henry Cavill, Zack Snyder, bunch of other cast members, Amy Adams, Lawrence Fishburne, Michael Shannon, and look, here's the thing about this movie, and I'm glad this came out today, and I'm glad I get to talk about it because, as you know, I'm not going to do a review of a movie unless either A, someone requested, B, I went to the theaters to see it, or C, I went and got the DVD, and that's usually what motivates me to do a review of a movie if I've happened to miss it, because, my channel is just starting back in August, so I missed a chance to review all these movies when they first came out. But here's the thing, there's people who love this movie, I'm one of those people, and there's people who hate this movie. Now, the funny thing is that the people who hate this movie are the same people who hate Superman Returns, at least from what I've gathered. And to me, that just proves that most people don't know what they want, because this is a polar opposite of Superman Returns. Superman Returns aimed at tradition, same music. They tried to find somebody who was in the likeness of Christopher Reeve, so they got Brandon Routh, who's tall, handsome guy, blue eyes. It was very similar, and I remember watching it because I have the DVD. I like Superman. Superman's one of my favorite DC comic characters, even though I'm primarily a Marvel fan, and I thought he did a good job. I didn't dislike Superman Returns like most people, because first of all, I thought it was slow to start, but I thought that Brandon Routh did a good job. He did try to simulate Christopher Reeve, but it seems to me that's what they were going for. It looks to me like they were trying to stay traditional with some enhanced look. Even the beginning of the movie, the credit opening, the way he spoke was very much like Christopher Reeve, or trying to be, and they stuck to some of the storylines from the earlier movies. And obviously Kevin Spacey, I think, did a solid job as Lex Luthor. Was he Gene Hackman? Of course not. But Kevin Spacey is a good actor, and I thought he did a fine job. He was a little bit more on the, what's the word I'm looking for? He was a little bit more demented, if that's for lack of a better word, than Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor, but I thought he was fine. Now, in the case of this movie, now you have a movie that completely overhauls. The music is completely different, and for starters, I love the music. The suit is different. Even the Superman in this movie is very different. He's not as charming as the previous iterations of Superman, but it doesn't mean he lacks charm. You saw hints of it throughout the movie, but for the most part, he was very serious, almost reserved. And to me, if you're doing a movie like this, then I can understand why he's reserved. He's just coming out. They try to ground the story, which I'll get to that in a minute. And truth be told, if you're from another planet, hell, if you're from somewhere else, another country, another planet, whatever, and you come to this country or to this planet, however way you want to view it, automatically you yourself think of yourself as an outcast, because everyone's different from you. Even though you were born here, in Superman's case, you start realizing that you have certain abilities and certain powers that no one else seems to have. and then you have your father or your Earth father encouraging you to not display them. Now you begin to question and doubt yourself. So for him to come out and be charming doesn't make any sense. It would completely contradict what he's being taught in his life. So when I see the forums and I read people talking about that he lacked charm, hey, guess what? He ain't gonna be charming. He's trying to listen to his father. He's trying to kind of get a feel for how people are gonna take him. So I wouldn't be charming if I'm in that kind of situation where I'm walking on eggshells. Who could be charming, or who could be so open and so social when they got to walk on eggshells, wondering what people are going to think about them? So there's that. Then people spoke about the destruction and how the fights were between the supers like Zod and, you know, Superman and some of the other alien beings. And first of all, I thought that was awesome. That was, to me, was more of a display of their ability than the old movies. Even Brandon Roth, as much as I loved when his Superman lifted up the continent full of kryptonite and rock and all that, which I thought was probably the best scene in the movie, he did not perform this way. You know what I mean? And I think that when you look back at the older movies, I love Superman 2. That obviously that's one of everybody's favorites, I'm sure. And everybody loves the fight between, you know, Superman and Zod and that crew right there. And it's like, that was a classic scene. You know, they're fighting around the city, they're kicking each other, and Superman's trying to deal with all three of them. But it's an aged scene. It really is. I mean, it's so corny because when they're flying and they're turning to do things, they're turning like this. They're not even bending their body. Where in this movie, now you see them fluently moving as if they would while they're in flight, or moving really fast, taking advantage of their speed against the regular humans. So, and I thought that displayed that greatly. The difference from the aliens of Krypton to the humans of Earth. There's just no comparison. So, now, in terms of the story, I thought it was kind of rushed along. I will say that, because you went from the opening scene on Krypton, which I thought was a good explanation as to how things played out, and then next thing you know, you get to Earth, and they're kind of going back and forth, you know? Why they did it that way, I'm not sure. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily, because one minute he's holding up an oil rig, and then the next minute he's a kid and he's holding a bus. So that could throw some people off. But it's really hard for me to argue with this movie because I just loved it. I loved the music. I loved the just the way he kind of started learning his abilities. I thought that was cool because we had never seen that before. You know, like in the original Superman, he just knew already. It was like he was Superman. That was it. And but this movie was kind of cool because you knew by then he did hone some of his skills, but not all of them. And he certainly didn't hone flight. And you see him kind of giving himself, no pun intended, a crash course in flying. And then finally he started to kind of stabilize himself. And then he got the idea and the gist of it. Outside of that, I mean, I thought Michael Shannon was phenomenal as Zod. I thought he was great. I didn't expect that performance from him because every time I look at him, I think about that guy from 8 Mile who he played. He played Eminem's mother's like lover, and he was such a dork in that movie. And then I think of him in Pearl Harbor, and he's such a dork in that movie. And now he's playing General Zod, and I thought he did pretty good. A lot of people also complained about Amy Adams, her character Lois Lane, and how she's so involved with doing things. And it's like, I really trying to figure out what she did. Like, people were saying, oh, she's like playing superhero. Actually, you really think about it, she didn't help Superman on that ship. All she did was use the little device, activate it, and Superman's father's conscience basically, you know, took him, guided her out of the ship. That's all he did. She didn't do anything. I mean, she fired guns, but she was being helped. It's not like she did anything by herself. She didn't do anything extravagant. And as far as why she was there, I guess Zod wanted to extract some information because later on she tells Superman that she saw how things were going to play out. Um, you know, it's and the fact that Superman didn't do everything by himself to me is more of a realistic approach. You know, you got an army of Kryptonians. He's one man. The military can't do anything, but everybody tried their best. Because he was overwhelmed, a city got leveled. That's how it is, you know. Now, as far as a movie being grounded, it's very, very hard to ground a movie like Superman because Batman is different. Batman doesn't have any superpowers. Batman is excellent in martial arts. He's at the peak of human ability in terms of training. He's intelligent. He knows how to investigate. He's just kind of like a super cop on steroids. And the reason it's easy to ground a Batman movie is because he's limited. So he's going to be fighting crime. And Nolan's series is a perfect example of that. Even though you had the Joker and you had Bane and you had Ra's al Ghul, the premise of Batman in that series was to fight the mob. And you saw him fight the mob in the first and the second movie. And then in the third movie, he's not fighting anymore because there is no mob. He's forced to come out because of the League of Shadows. But his primary goal in the first two movies is to stop organized crime. The Joker just took advantage of a very desperate mob to try and exploit his power over Gotham, and then Batman had to step his game up and deal with the Joker. Just like in the first movie, he's trying to get rid of the mob, but here comes the League of Shadows trying to destroy Gotham, and yet he has to step his game up and destroy his old mentor. But his primary focus was getting rid of the mob. Superman's focus is getting rid of aliens. It's a completely different thing, so it's kind of hard to ground it. But, you know, with that said, I love the movie. I think it was a great Superman movie. I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm not butthurt about Ben Affleck playing Batman like 20 million people. I just think people need to get over that. Basically, it's like, how many people are going to complain about who plays the Cape Crusader or who plays the Joker? I've been seeing this since 1989 when Keaton was first cast as Batman and people went ape shit. And it's like an ongoing thing. So I'm not even going to get into that. I did a video about my thoughts on the whole Ben Affleck thing. If you want to go take a look at it, it's way back on my channel. It's one of the first videos I did. But overall, I thought Superman was a great movie. For those of you who thought it sucked, well, it sucks to be you because, you know, I enjoyed it. So, and there are a lot of people who did enjoy it. But, you know, I thought it was a good movie, you know? I thought it was a great movie. Love Superman. He's awesome. So that's it, guys. That's my little review on The Man of Steel. Like I said, I know there's a lot of people out there who hate the movie. I'm still kind of trying to figure that out based on complaints that I see. But, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's all good. My opinion happens to be probably the best Superman movie. Sorry. All right. See you guys later. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.